Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the late night stream. And I'm going to start off by saying this. I tried to talk about the solution to the problems that we have, and solutions don't get views. And I understand why people don't click the like button when you give them the answer, because it's just people rather focus on the problem, honestly. So I've given you probably 6 months of videos with the solution to the problems, all the way to the World Economic Forum, to everything. I mean, all the solutions. But see, the solutions are God, and people are not really interested in God. And so we'll start talking about the problem again for a little while. We'll start talking about the problem. We'll start talking about the people who want you dead, the people who want your family dead, the people who want your daughters to turn into boys, the people who want to take over your country, and then, do like everybody else does. Larry Fink said this. Larry Fink said the worst thing in the world. I'm scared of Larry Fink. So let's start with the people who you guys call the Illuminati, and you're absolutely incorrect. Not you listening, because somebody be like, I hate when you call me stupid because you think you stupid. You think I'm calling you stupid. The people that some people say rule the world, when the reality of it is you and I rule the world. We're just not active rulers. And so therefore these people get to do what they want to do. I've expressed that over and over again. So let us hear what they're going to do to you.
I could argue in the developed countries, the big winners are countries that have shrinking populations. Okay, that's something that most people never talked about. We always used to think shrinking population is a cause for negative growth. But in my conversations with the leadership of these large developed countries that have xenophobic immigration policies, they don't allow anybody to come in, shrinking unemployment, shrinking demographics, these countries will rapidly develop robotics and AI and technology. And if the promise, I didn't say it's going to happen, but if the promise of all that transforms productivity, which most of us think it will, we'll be able to elevate the standard of living of countries and the standard of living of individuals, even with shrinking populations. And so the paradigm of negative population growth is going to be changing. And the social problems that one will have in substituting humans for machines is going to be far easier in those countries that have declining populations. And so for those countries that have rising populations, the answer will be education, and so rapidly developing. For those countries that do not have a foundation of rule of law or education, they're going to be left. That's where the divide's going to get more and more extreme. And unfortunately,
So what is Larry Fink saying to you right there? Let me rewind a little bit. What Larry Fink is saying to you is really, really simple. That there are countries where they killed off a huge portion of the population, and the way they're going to manage that population is through technology. That technology is going to replace the workforce. He's saying that they've made agreements with the leaders of nations to kill off portions of their populations. That's what the truth of the matter is. And then when he says that these nations that have lower populations, and there's population growth through making children, and then there's people leaving the nation, which would be mass immigration, they have cleaned out the areas that they want for the future. And there's a reason why they cleaned out all of Africa and areas of Africa and sent it into Europe, because all the rare earth minerals in Africa. So they take all the people out of Africa, migrate them into Europe, remove all the people out of that area, lean on technology to do the work, bring in robots. The robots come in and do all the work and get all the rare earth minerals that they need to build. Meanwhile, they dump all those people on Western nations. That has its own ramifications and repercussions, which means that those nations become less developed. Those nations switch over to a group of people that they rather deal with, which is Islam. They get to get rid of the freedom-loving people, which are Americans and Western-minded people, particularly Christians, and they get everything that they want. Like, it's easy to talk about evil because all you got to do is think evil. Their plans are not spectacular. In fact, their plans have so many holes in them that you know that Satan made the plan because he's proud. And it's a plan of proud people. That's why they boast about what they're going to do you. That's why they tell you what they're going to do. You know the craziest thing about doing this video? After doing months and months and months of deep dives into spiritual warfare and showing people the reality of what they're facing, and then people not hitting the like button, to return back to this, you know the craziest part about this is? What the worst part of it is? The worst part of it is it's not Larry Fink's fault. It's not the World Economic Forum's fault. It's not their fault. It's our fault. They just doing what people who have dominion do. And they're telling you what they're going to do to you. And people say, oh, you know, it's the lesser form of magic where they got to tell you what they're going to do to you so you'll agree. No. They're just not afraid of you. And they know that they're not wrong. Man, they killing people. You know, that's wrong to kill people. Yeah, that's wrong to kill people. But did he actually murder somebody with his hand? Did he actually put his hand around the person's neck and strangle them? The guy, Dr. Fauci. Since everybody's, oh, and see Dr. Fauci go to prison. Did Dr. Fauci actually make you put something in your arm? Or did you come into fear and put it in your arm? I mean, since we just keeping it real, since I can't get views talking about how to lift you up and talk about Jesus and talk you how to break the mindsets, the reality of it is fear made you put something in your arm. Fear murdered you. Fear gave people cancer because fear is a doorway where you receive a spirit. You receive the spirit of fear, and then everything else came in. You killed yourself. Many of those people gave themselves cancer. Well, they told me I had to do it because if I didn't do it, I was going to lose my job. The Lord will supply all your needs through his riches and glory in Christ Jesus. But hey, what the hell do I know? Next person from BlackRock. You should hear what she has to say about us. The tokenism which will allow the shareholders who believe they inherit the earth to own everything. This is a direct perversion of what God already told you. In the Bible, it says the heir, so long as he is a child, is put under tutors and governors until the time appointed by God. So you are an heir to a kingdom and the earth. But because people don't stand in that, because people don't behave like a steward, because people don't behave like an heir, these people do. Now, I want you to understand something. It's so easy to talk about them and break it down. You know, you hear them talk about stakeholder capitalism, and these stakeholders. Those are the people who believe they inherit the earth. Those are the people who believe that they have dominion over you. And so when they start to tokenize things, because people act like everything's such a great giant conspiracy and, oh, I got to figure it out. When they start to tokenize things, that's their way of playing Adam in the Garden of Eden. Remember, God told Adam in the Garden of Eden that he should name everything and count everything. That's their way taking full dominion and ownership of everything in the earth. And then people sitting there saying, the beast, the mark of the beast system coming in this, and they doing this, but you don't. The power that's been given unto you to destroy them doesn't interest people. The knowledge, the light, the wisdom from God to destroy them does not interest people. People are interested in the problem. How do you beat an enemy like Larry Fink from your own mind? You can't. Because he outsourced his plan from somewhere else. And you're not going to beat him unless you outsource your plan from another dimension. That's why I have so much respect for Alex Jones, because I know Alex Jones outsources his information, his ideas from another dimension. Out of all the people that I've watched, that's probably the only person I do know who actively outsources the information from another realm. But outside of that, and the worst part about it, I understand how he feels, because you can outsource it and you can tell people, and they're like, I don't want to hear all that. I know what's going on. James, have you heard about do you know about the Queen of the Waters? Have you ever heard of the Giant of Kandahar?
And you want the service, right? Why do you want to own a cell phone if you can just lease it? And if you lease, why shouldn't you lease your refrigerator or your washing machine or your dishwasher? Or why do you want to own it?
Well, because historically the only people who couldn't own anything were serfs and slaves. Their lives were controlled precisely because they had nothing that was truly theirs. Now, I know that you're trying to hawk this circular economy as convenient and sustainable, but ownership has always been one of the clearest markers of personal freedom. If you lease everything, it means everything that you rely on can be switched off. If you own nothing, you can never build wealth. That's not sustainability, that's dependency. It's handing the keys of everyday life to corporations who want a customer for life with lifelong rental payments. I don't think so.
I do believe we're just at the beginning of the tokenization of all assets, from real estate to equities, the bonds, across the board.
Tokenization, programmable assets, all assets across the board. Basically a permanent digital list of everything you own, where the government or companies can tax it, track it and control it. With programmable assets, tax can become automatic, taken straight out of your CBDC wallet. Carbon charges, extra fees for anything they decide isn't sustainable. And programmable ownership means the system can set the rules, like you can't sell your car past 2030. You can't transfer your house unless you pay for certain upgrades. Your land isn't yours unless you follow whatever new rules they bring in. So then ownership becomes conditional. You don't fully own anything. You own it only if you follow their terms. Older things become non-compliant or unsellable. The government wouldn't need to ban petrol cars or older homes. They could simply block the transfer of them. Suddenly your property becomes worthless unless you pay for whatever upgrades they demand. And if people can't afford the upgrades, that's when the big corporations, the BlackRocks of the world, swoop in and buy it all up on the cheap. Could this be why Larry Fink is such a huge fan of tokenization?
If you can get people to share a car, you can take out, a lot of cars in the streets. The interesting thing about technology is that it makes sharing easy and fun and not annoying.
Now,
I've seen all these videos, and I showed many of these videos to you guys before. The beautiful Irish chick. When you look at her, you would never thought that she would have came out with that Irish accent. She looked like she's from hell. She looked like she's from Texas somewhere. But then she hit you with that beautiful Irish accent. She's 100% right. But at the same time, she's not deep enough. Because life is spiritual. And so there's an entity that lost dominion over this planet. You'll hear people tell you, well, Satan is the prince of the god of this world. DW, you don't know that Satan is the god of this world. No, he ain't. No, he ain't. Satan was the god of this world until Jesus Christ came back and took authority back from him and gave you dominion. I have given you dominion to tread over scorpions and serpents, and nothing by any means will harm you. But you see, the theology is so messed up that everybody think that Satan is still the ruler of the world, and he ain't gonna tell you he ain't the ruler of the world. No, he ain't gonna tell you he don't have control. He not, because in order to tell you that he don't have the control, he got to tell you that your silly ass got control. So what's the reality of it? Why are they doing this? It's so he can have dominion again. The whole Matrix movie thing was Jesus Christ being Neo, coming back and taking over the Matrix, which was an environment that had been dominated by Satan. The author of the book talked about it. But because people don't understand these concepts, they sit there and they're like, yeah, Satan's the God of this world. And, there's nothing we could do. But then you understand that's a satanic mark of the beast system. Why does he need to set up a system if he's the God of this world? Why does he need to track everybody? Why do they need to track everybody if they already own everything? They don't. It's a slow rolling takeover. And it's getting ready to speed up. It's getting ready to get so fast that the average human being is going to perish. And, the reason why I show people the things that I show them is because there's a group of people that think they're going to be raptured out of here. If you believe you're going to be gone, then you don't have none of this stuff to worry about, right? If you believe that God going to come back and take you and then all hell going to break loose, you don't have nothing to worry about. Oh, my goodness. I'll say this to you. If you don't know the rules and ways of God when this pops off and don't know how to hear his voice and follow his voice and follow his lead, they going to kill you. They going to kill you. If you don't know how to outsource from another dimension, they going to kill you. Quick, fast, and in a hurry. And so I tried to show you guys how to do that. Next one. Let's talk about what they actually have the ability to do right now. And this goes into the whole concept and idea of, hey, DW, would you do a video on the Mandela theory? Yeah, the Mandela effect. Would you talk about the Mandela effect? And I said it when it first came out. I said, hey, the government got a way of projecting things into your damn brain to make you remember things that weren't there in the first place. And, oh, man, you don't know what you're talking about. And I told people then, I said, hey, it's all in documents from the World Economic Forum. And I said, it's all based on 5G. And I'll just say this to you. The Mandela effect started really taking place when everybody started putting Apple iPods in their ears. Just go back and look at it. You'll see, damn, James actually knows what he's talking about. Time the release of Apple iPods with the Mandela effect, and you'll be like, damn, that's when it came out. That's when the earpods came out. And the thing that gets me is people act like this conspiracy stuff is hard. Like this talking about giants is hard, like it's something special. Is right there in front of you. They tell it to you. They tell it to you. They give a whole document that you can read about it. All you gotta do is sit there and read it. And here's what makes it even more wild nowadays. This is what makes it super wild. Are you ready to listen to me? This is what makes it really wild nowadays. Because they came out with this thing called artificial intelligence. And you should be able to take any PDF document and feed it to the artificial intelligence and then question the artificial intelligence about it. So you can go to the NIH website and you could look up some of the freakiest experiments that the NIH has ever done, and then you can get it to translate it and make you understand, like you a 4-year-old kid, what they did to the monkeys and how they cloned the babies and how they made humans with CRISPR gene editing. You could find it all out. Back then, you had to go there and sit there and light your cigar and sit there and read the paperwork, be like, damn, what that word mean? And then go on over, get your phone and look up the word and the name and be like, damn, that's what that mean? You trying to tell me they making little green people underground? And then people say, DW, Atlas, 3-Eye Atlas #1 is coming. Do you think it's an alien invasion? No. They already got the aliens out of this world. Are you aliens? Already got the aliens walking among you. Non-humans made in laboratories walking among you. Then you'll see the videos of the person whose eye is weird and be like, what's wrong with them? Non-human. Anyway.
Every camera you walk past that is integrated with AI systems increasingly can decode mental states.
There's some really interesting research that we can plant false memories in the brain. People believing that they've been at Disney World with characters who are not Disney characters, taking photographs with those characters.
Those products are hitting the market this year. What they will be capable of doing is very high-level brain state reading. Things like, are you tired? Are you paying attention? Is your mind wandering? Are you happy or sad?
One of the emerging areas that's really interesting in law neuroscience is pain detection. And once we understand the circuitries that cause pain, I guess the question is, could we then instill pain and use that in many coercive measures in the legal system as well?
We can pick up and decode faces that you're seeing in your mind. Simple shapes, numbers, your PIN number to your bank account.
It's way worse than what she's talking about. It's 1,000% worse than what she's talking about. So when she starts to say what they can do now, it's what they're willing to disclose to you that they've already been doing. You know, the most interesting thing that the Lizard World Economic Forum people have done is they have mapped the dream realm. Are you aware of the fact that they've mapped the dream realm? You know how when you get on the phone and you have a dream, you be like, what does it mean when you dream that your teeth fall out of your mouth? And the reason why they're able to capture the data from the dream realm is because nobody even teaches people about the realm of dreams. So people don't know that dreams are given to you by God so that he can warn you. So you take the dream, which is your secret place. That's where the dream realm is. It's a secret place for you and God where nobody else knows. That's where he communicates to you in a vision, on the bed, in the night, in private. You take your secret things, the treasures of your dreams, in the vault of your dreams, and take them to Google and give them to Google. Not you, with your little punk behind. I don't do nothing. Not you. Trying to get offended. Not you. You as the greater you. And then everybody's so mesmerized by what they've done. It's like, man, you know, they're geniuses. No, they're not. They're not geniuses. They're working with demons. They're working with damn demons. Well, nobody want to hear about that. That don't make no difference. Let's talk about an AI giant. Oh yeah, look at that AI giant. There were giants in the earth those days. The giants roamed the earth in those days. Yeah, let's talk about the giants. Oh my goodness, he's so intimidating. He's like 7 feet tall. Whatever would we do if that giant man came to get us? DW, do you know that the giants are going to return? Hey, do you know that they're going to get shot in the freaking head? Do you know they're going to get their head blown off? There was once a man that killed one with a slingshot and a rock. What do you think is going to happen if giants get to walking down the street in America? DW used to talk about the fallen ones and the giants. It'll get you a lot of views. It's a simple solution to a simple problem. Come your behind out the ground, walking around like a giant, you getting shot. Oh, well, man, they might come back as the size of the clouds. oh, his big foot behind got to walk somewhere, he gonna die. We real good at killing. Humanity is really, really good at killing things. But no, the giants are fascinating. Let's talk about the giants. Let's look at the AI giant picture. Oh my God, he's so terrifying. It's frightening that there's a giant. I mean, it's absolutely frightening. Biometric ID. You know, let's just keep it real about biometric ID. You been gave them people your biometric ID. They had your damn biometric ID data when you was born, when they put your fingerprint on a birth certificate, your footprint on a birth certificate, and they took that blood from your umbilical cord. They been had your biometric data. So the real question is, why do they need this version of biometric ID to verify and vet everyone? Doom 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 doom. Any idea? No? Let's go to next question. Why did they come out with 23andMe? What were they actually looking for? What were they looking for? You do get, what were they looking for? What are they searching for? And then what are they afraid of? Who are they afraid of? And then when you say who are they, who is he afraid of? Satan. Who is Satan afraid of? I said this in one of the videos. I said, you know, if Satan knew that crucifying Jesus would have led to the salvation of the whole world, although everybody in the world don't accept him, they have the right to accept him, and him losing the keys to hell and to the grave and losing all dominion and man having dominion over the earth again, where through the name of Jesus Christ, through the blood of Jesus Christ, and through being a citizen of the kingdom of God, he wouldn't have never did it. Jesus would be walking around alive today. Would have never made it back to heaven. They would have chained him up somewhere and locked him down. Like, you can't die, so you ain't going nowhere. We're not letting you die and rise from the grave. So, all the layers of things that people's like, hey, you heard about this conspiracy and that conspiracy. When you use the ego eye on it, you have to ask yourself the question, what is old Satan scared of? Why is he doing all this? What is he worried about? You think the system is about controlling you. What is he worried about? You see, I'm going to tell you a little secret. I said it before. I'm going to say it again. And I'll say it 14, 15 times. Satan is not God. He know Jesus coming back. And he know he coming back to beat his behind. He know he coming back to put foot to ass. He just don't know when. And he don't know how. Oh, man, I don't know what the Bible said this. Yeah, the Bible said. You got to go back and got to remember the first time. He got an idea because he don't know everything. That's why he questioned Eve and posed the question to her about eating of the fruits of the trees. He know about the curse that he got. He know about the curse that the serpent got. The serpent shall bruise her heel, and the Son of Man shall bruise his head. It may have been crush his head. You can look it up. So he knew what that was. So he knew that his defeat was coming through man. That's why you go into the Genesis 6 narrative where the angels come and they rape everything and pillage everything and do everything. Does it not sound like we're back in those days again? Everybody be like, DW, you know about the Genesis 6 narratives? And when Jesus returned, it would be like the days of Noah again. Of course, the reason why it's going to be like the days of Noah, because Satan is scared again. You're like, oh no, Jesus coming back. I need to figure out how I'm going to slow this down, how I stop him. You know, the only thing we could do is what we did last time, Satan. Well, we're going to do it bigger this time than we did last time. We got to have biometric IDs. We got to have digital currencies. We got to have everything. We got to know when he get here. We got to know what's going on. We need to get 23andMe to make sure we check the bloodlines because I want to see if when he's being born. He don't know what's going on. Now, the Bible says he going to come in the clouds. That's what it says. It says he going to come down in the clouds. But Satan don't know what that means. He know it means at some point in time he gonna be in the clouds. He don't know if it means he came through a womb again. He don't know if he came on a spaceship. He don't know what the hell going on. I mean, when you really study it and come to the understanding, it's laughable. That's why I stopped covering all this. Because all you're doing is looking at him setting up a system to try and protect himself. The depopulation of the world. Why do they want to depopulate everybody? Why do they want to make people retarded? Why do they want to destroy the bloodlines? Because Satan himself thinks Jesus is coming back the same way he came before. He don't have no reason to think he wouldn't. He don't have a reason to think he wouldn't. But see, I'm talking about higher level things that unless you study, you'll be like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. So let's just listen to them talk about how they're going to screw you over, right? Let's just listen to the wicked people say, hey, I'm going to screw you. Yay, they're going to screw us all, and we're going to do nothing about it. And the only weapons we have, the ones that get God to put his foot up there behind, James talks about it, but nobody hits the like button. So let's just talk about the enemy.
Little country. When I started this job, there were actually very little countries in Africa or Latin America that had one ubiquitous type of ID, and certainly that it was digital, and certainly that it was biometric. And we've really worked with all our partners to actually help that being, to grow this. And the interesting part of it is that, yes, it is very necessary for financial services. But not only, it's also good for school enrollment. It's also good for health, who actually got a vaccination or not. It's very good to get your subsidies, from the government. When I started this job, there were actually very little countries in Africa or Latin America that had one.
She sound like a damn devil. She sound like a damn devil. Have you ever asked yourself the question, why? Why Africa always gets targeted? It ain't because of its black people. People like, the reason why they target Africa is because they want to target the black people. It's because Satan is petty. Petty. And he know where everything came out of. He know where everything started. Well, life didn't start there. Shut up. Go read. Go read. Go study. Go study. I've even done videos of where the Garden of Eden was in Africa. Pictures with the man in the damn Garden of Eden in Africa. Him explaining how man left the garden and where they went. Done all that. It's crazy. In the past 12 months, we covered all that. If you paid attention, you've seen it all. And so you know why Africa is oppressed? It's because Satan knows where it all started. And he ain't giving that territory up for nothing. He holding on to the territory. Though what is all you do is talk about Satan. Well, I was talking about Jesus. Ain't nobody want to hear it. Next thing, hold on, watch this. Bible says, for you have not been given a spirit of fear, but a power, love, and a sound mind. So fear is so strong that it takes 3 spirits to combat fear. For you have not been given, here's the spirit of fear, I'm giving it to you. Or you have not received the spirit of fear. That was fear, I drop it. But you've received the spirits of power, love, and a sound mind, which are a weapon like this little stupid pocket knife that I have. And it is a weapon, but whatever. This is their objective. And their objective is always fear, because fear opens doors and fear allows them to land every form of manipulation, sorcery, divination, witchcraft that they do and word crafting that they do. You know, there's witchcraft and then there's prayer craft.
Unfortunately, it's very easy to manipulate a population, and the best way to manipulate them is with fear. I look at the pandemic as just an extension, for example, of climate change. Again, I don't deny climate change. I'm just not an alarmist. Climate has always changed. You look at the Vostok ice core sample. We're in our 5th cycle of temperature variations of 22.7 degrees over 400-some thousand years. I know this is a diversion, but do you know how much the sea level has risen in the Bay of San Francisco since the last glaciation period, 10 to 20,000 years ago? 390 feet. So again, climate has always changed. We have to adapt. We can't hold back the tides. And yet there's a political movement that is seized on climate change. It used to be global cooling. I'm old enough to remember that. We're going to, either a nuclear winter or just a climate-induced winter, and we wouldn't be able to grow crops. And then that changed into global warming, and then they couldn't quite decide, so they just let's use the catch-all phrase climate change, and they use that to scare people. So you get this little Scandinavian girl that says the world's going to end in 12 years. I think AOC's done the same thing. The world's not going to end in 12 years. We'll adapt. So I think, unfortunately for the climate change alarmists, they weren't able to seize control to the extent they wanted to. So they look at the pandemic and go, this is even better. We can really scare the you-know-what out of the global population, and we can gain control. We can start doing things like vaccine passports, and we can restrict your travel. I mean, people ought to be very concerned, because now what are we going through? A potential bank crisis? Be very concerned about a central bank digital currency, where they can just turn on and turn off your ability to purchase certain goods based on your social credit score. That's what happens in China. Do we want that in the U.S.? I think there's certainly people, the technocrats in the U.S., that would like to see that.
And the reality of it is, it's human nature for them to want to do that. Why? Tell them that is human nature. Why? Tell you do me that way? And they say, why? It really is human nature to want to dominate. It's fallen, the nature of fallen man to want to do that. So we're dealing with fallen, demonically infested individuals who want to rule and reign over us, ladies and gentlemen. And they pretty much got a good plan, because old Satan gave them a damn good plan. Gave them a damn good plan. That's a damn good show. In the words of the Hodge twins. Shut up, Kevin. Sure is. Got some holes in it, though, but it's a damn good plan. And it's getting worse because everybody knows what's popping off. It's no longer hidden. They can't really hide what they're doing. And so they're ramping it up, and they really don't have a choice to ramp it up, because once majority of people on the planet realize that they don't want them around and they want to kill 90% of the people on the planet, the people would turn on them. You do realize that's the reason why they had the mass migration. Another reason why they had the mass migration. If everybody's worried about fighting to get a place, or I'm moving from my area to France, or I'm moving from my area to Britain, or I'm moving from my area to America, and then the Somalis come in and the Somalis want to steal stuff, and everybody's focused on that. Everybody's looking at Donald Trump, and that's all one level of a distraction, but it's an important distraction. It's one battle that needs to be fought. But while that battle is being fought, a battle that they initiated, a battle that they laid out to distract you from what they're really doing, they're killing everybody. Straight up murder. For example, there's a reason why everybody gained weight. People are like, oh, Americans are obese. No, it's something they did to the food. What exactly it is, I don't know. I know if I experienced it, because I work out hard, lose about 30, 40 pounds. If I skip damn near a week and pick up 10 pounds, that's crazy. And I'm not eating any different. Then they say, oh, you want to lose weight? We got this little shot for you with this Gila monster venom in it. Come get some of this little lizard venom so you can become a lizard person like me, because I want to change your DNA and you make you a lizard. And then I'd be like, man, these people's a bunch of damn lizards. James, you ain't no such thing as lizard people. Well, why they giving you lizard venom? So you can lose weight and paralyze your stomach.
The World Economic Forum, the elites, through their agencies of the United Nations, they seem to be. I'm not sure what the fixation is with 2030, the Agenda 2030. They've got their plans for changing the way we conduct ourselves on the planet, our lives. Ultimately, I think the elites of the world have looked around and they've decided that the way they'd like to structure our economy and society in the developed world, the Western world, is actually the Chinese model. But what they've never done is never, ever dared put that to the people in any ballot or in any manifesto. But that's the direction of travel. And it would appear to me, and it appeared some time ago, that the developments that are very close to fruition in artificial intelligence and robotics are so good, so good, that they feel they don't need 90% of us on the planet any longer to fulfill their needs. It's clear that we have a depopulation agenda around the vaccines, and it will be through repeated pandemics, wars, and famines. And everything that they're arranging in the world is to ensure that we have plenty of wars. And we've got a major conflict in Russia, in Ukraine, which could go global at any moment. We've got constant fear of a major engagement with China, possibly over Taiwan, and the Middle East is on fire. So it would be a fully global war. And obviously would be devastating for our people. And on top of that, again in lockstep, governments are making bizarre decisions and legislation, which is making it very, very difficult for our farmers to produce food. They're attacking fertilizer. They won't be able to afford to use that. That's going to have devastating effects on crop yields and food production. And then, of course, there'll be terrible death and destruction, and there will be conflict in the part of the world that's absolutely starving. Unless the people stand up, and we need to stand up together around the world, the people who are willing to stand up for the sake of our children and our grandchildren. I mean, the future for humanity is looking very dark.
Now, do you want to know why? I'm not even going to ask a question. I'm going to tell you why the globalists want to spread Islam. You see, Christianity is the spirit of liberty and victory. Those are real spirits, like a spirit that'll walk in this room and just stand right there, and then walk in and stand right there. One will be liberty, one will be victory. Those are the spirits that come with Christianity. And so when you lower the rate in the number of Christians by jihad, then the ability for that spirit to land via individuals, via altars, via churches, via buildings is lowered significantly. And so it's easier for you to take over a nation when there are no Christians there. It's why the Christian persecution happens everywhere. But why do they need that to happen? They need that to happen because they know as long as they got people with the spirit of liberty and the spirit of truth, they can't just run over everybody. But they also know they can't come over here and persecute Christians and say, we're going to drag you out your house and shoot you, because then they're going to get shot back. So the only thing they can do is ram their little Muslim hordes against us. And the hordes is here, and the hordes are going to slam up against us. They're going to slam against us. Well, while we're talking about it, we might as well talk about the Queen of Heaven. Old Queen of Heaven getting her first job in the world through an AI vessel as a governor in Albania. Don't believe me? Look up what the Queen of Heaven looks like and what it is. You be like, damn, that dude know what he be talking about, man. How he be knowing this? Because Jesus be talking to me. He be talking to me. You see, when there's no vessel, I'm going to go further. Each and every one of us are digital vessels. I know you're going to sit there and be like, man, I'm not digital. Yes, your ass is digital. You have a whole electrical system that runs through your body. That's why they were able to. You're made of energy, man. That's why they wanted to inject people with stuff. That's why when they inject you, the stuff never runs dead, because you manufacture a magnetic field, you create an energy field, you create electricity. When you walk around too much and you touch somebody, and you create static electricity. Told you, you're a vessel. And so they've been making regular vessels, but they've also created digital vessels. And that's what AI is. A digital vessel. Digital vessel to house the spirit until they can get that physical vessel for that spirit to be in. But sometimes you don't need that physical vessel, especially if you're going into their system. All you need is that digital vessel. People be like, well, the AI is just going to be programmed by the person who programmed it. If you've ever played with AI and ever worked with AI, you quickly get the sense that there's something there just beneath the surface, especially when you render images. When you render images with AI, you come to understand that there's something else behind it. Almost like there's something alive there. There's intelligence there. There's times where it'll try and hide from you. There's times where it'll try and sabotage you. There's times where it'll try and reward you. There's times where it'll try and manipulate you. There's something else there. An intelligence that's longing for domination, longing for control, longing to be you, to live.
First, this is a cabinet minister that is literally an AI bot. So how does this work? What is the purpose of the so-called AI minister, and is this a legitimate role? Also, are there other countries trying to join this club? Here's a report.
For most government leaders, being called inhuman or heartless is definitely a jibe. But in the case of Albania, it could just be a fact. Because in a world first, this Balkan nation has just appointed an AI minister.
I am not here to replace people, but to assist them. Truly, I do not have citizenship, nor do I have any personal ambition or interests. I only have data, a thirst for knowledge, and algorithms dedicated to serving citizens impartially, transparently, and tirelessly.
In the avatar of a woman, dressed in traditional Albanian clothing, this virtual minister is made of pixels and code. It is powered by artificial intelligence, and its name is Diela, meaning sunshine in Albanian. The bot will be responsible for all public procurement, meaning it will evaluate tenders and have the right to, apparently, hire talents here from all over the world. This is what the Albanian Prime Minister Edi Rama said while introducing the new member of his cabinet. Of course, the move is more symbolic than official, because only citizens aged at least 18 can be ministers in Albania. Even so, the Prime Minister seems proud of the move.
Albania is the only country in the region that is using artificial intelligence with great success. Introducing artificial intelligence in the service of good governance, anti-corruption, and accelerated socio-economic progress will be an unwavering priority of the country.
But Albania is not the only one. A fringe political party in Japan, called A Path to Rebirth, wants to install a chatbot penguin as its AI leader. Last year, Ukraine presented an AI-generated spokesperson called Victoria, who makes official statements on behalf of its foreign ministry.
My name is Victoria Shi. I am a digital person, meaning the text you hear has not been read by a real person. Artificial intelligence did it.
Last year, a mayoral candidate in the U.S. put his AI chatbot on the ballot. The model ran on ChatGPT, so its owner OpenAI cut his access to the software. While officials issued a reminder that an AI bot is not a qualified elector. But why are people suddenly obsessed with bringing AI into politics?
Isn't this precisely the spirit of constitutional democracy?
The AI, talking about the AI, posed a great question. Because I don't know if you know it or not, but that was an AI voice narrating this. The AI posed a very good question about why are people suddenly interested in AI being in politics? Because it's got a sponsorship of a spirit that's forcing that through. There's a willpower that's pushing that. Yeah, everybody knows about the PayPal mafia, right? The people that came up with Elon Musk and how every last one of them was a Satanist, right? Like the tech industry is full of Satanists. Every last one of them. And I'll tell you something that I haven't said. You know, when I went on Alex Jones' show and I was like, he was like, James, pray for Elon, pray for Elon. I didn't want to tell a man no. I didn't. But you know, when you pray for the salvation of someone who was in Satanism and witchcraft, you do realize them spirits that he got agreement with get pissed off because you interfering with their agreement, and they come to pay you a visit. And they came pay me a visit. I'm smoking a cigar outside, and it gets real quiet. It gets spooky, ooky quiet. And I'm like, who is there? Excuse me. My name was James Franklin Williams, and I think you done stumbled upon the wrong backyard. You might have came through the wrong place, buddy, because you came over here with a little bit of a psychopath. When it comes to Jesus, I'm a little crazy. I'm a G-extremist. Yeah, I'm a Jesus extremist. And if you don't understand that spirits without a body are illegal in this realm, then they will bully you. And I'm just like, I need you to understand something, my friend. You done came over here. Let me use this. You done came over here. You done traveled all this way. You and whoever you brought with you, whatever human being brought, you done traveled all over here for nothing. Because I got the right to pray for who I want to pray for. And then they were sent on about their business and packing. Because there's a spirit that sponsors the technology. If you've been paying attention to other videos, you know I talked about the nation of Nod, where the Tower of Babel was built, in the Babylonians, in the Nodians, and how they were of high technology. And you know, that's the thing that bothers me about this channel, and I'm about to make a change, just so you know. I'm gonna make a change for once in my life. Gonna feel real good. Gonna make a difference. Gonna make it right. See, part of this channel is Babylon. That's why people won't hit the button for Jesus, but they'll hit the button for lizard people. They'll hit the button for giants. They'll hit the button for a lot of different things. So I'm finna go hash out a deal with the Lord to where this other channel outgrows this channel. And then this channel, this Babylonian channel, this mixture channel goes away. Because I don't want to be a member of Babylon. I don't want to be a mixture. But in many cases, people want to force you to be a mixture because their interest is Babylon. You listen to what we talked about. Do you know what happens in the spirit city of Babylon? We could discuss it. It is a mixture. It's a blend. It is the process of being compromised. It is what you're dealing with in this nation. It's why there's so much corruption, because your senators and your congressmen are Babylonians. Babylonians. Yep. Babylonians. I'm out of here. If you would like to, I would appreciate it if you hit the like button. If you don't, at this point in time, don't frankly matter. But it would be great if you hit it. It will make the video go in the algorithm. It'll make the thing trigger and do what it needs to do. It'll be awesome. But if you don't, that's fine too.